If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that my stance on 4K monitors for PC gaming has remained consistent. Unless you have a high-end gaming PC, and by high-end, I mean having at least the specs that you see over on this side of the screen, you're not going to get your money's worth. Why? Because gaming in 4K resolution is way more taxing on your system, and it ends up taking a big hit on your frames per second. That's right, your FPS. So, what are we gonna do about this? What if you don't have a high-end PC? What if you have something closer to like a mid-tier gaming PC? What would happen if you bought a 4K gaming monitor and tried to game, do a little 4K gaming on that mid-tier PC? Well, that's exactly what we're gonna be doing today. We'll see what happens. So for today's experiment, I'm gonna be using my PC, which you can see right over there. It's got 32 gigabytes of RAM, RTX 3070 Ti GPU, and an Intel iCore 12700K CPU. The monitor that I'll be using is also right behind me. It's this 31.5 4K Legion monitor from Lenovo, who was kind enough to sponsor today's video and provide this monitor for the test. So, big round of applause for Lenovo in the comments, please. Now, here's what I'll say about this monitor. Excellent out-of-the-box color accuracy, super deep blacks, and I mean super deep blacks. You would think this thing is OLED. It's not. It's 144 hertz refresh rate, a 0.2 millisecond response time, and it's got an HDMI 2.1 port that will get you that 4K 120 FPS for you next-gen console players, or I guess it's current gen, right? PS5, Xbox Series X. And if that wasn't enough, a built-in headset hook. Lenovo just putting all of those accessory companies out of business with this. Sometimes you see things for the first time and you wonder, why wasn't this a thing like 20 years ago? This was one of those moments for me when I saw that. I don't know. Some may say it's gimmicky. I think it's pretty cool. So let's get into my very unscientific test here. I started with Rocket League, which was absolutely solid. I couldn't have picked a better game to start with because I was able to game with the highest settings possible and gameplay was extremely smooth and the details were noticeable. But that may have been the peak of the day because then I moved on to Call of Duty, a much more demanding game, and you can see by the different preset settings that if you try gaming in 4K resolution, you are not going to get a lot of FPS on this. Like, you're not going to get more than you would get on a standard 4K TV. Testing Forza Horizon 5 was a similar story. When gaming on the highest preset, I was only getting 44 FPS. Ultra would get me 91 FPS, high is 120, and medium got me 129. Now, it is worth noting that in a game like Forza, while more FPS is nice to have, it's certainly not as noticeable as it is in a fast-paced game like Call of Duty. So even when I was only getting around 90 FPS, the picture still looked incredible, especially with that ray tracing turned on. So what types of games you play certainly should be a part of your decision when going 4K. So what were my takeaways from this, again, very unscientific experiment here? My opinion is, as expected, the picture quality on a 4K gaming monitor is fantastic. However, if you tend to play games that demand more resources and where you greatly benefit from having more frames per second, personally, I don't think that trade-off of image quality for frames per second is worth it. You're better off investing in a 1440p monitor with a high refresh rate. However, if you are someone who tends to play more casual games like Rocket League that aren't as demanding, or maybe you watch a lot of 4K content or you even do some design work, then a monitor like this starts to make a lot more sense. Again, that's if you're doing a little bit of gaming and need that 4K. If you just need the 4K for non-gaming purposes, then save your money and get one that's 60 frames per second or a 60 hertz refresh rate. But you really do notice the small details on these 4K monitors, and if you do like to do that casual gaming along with it, Even though you may not have a super high-end system, then a monitor like this can make sense. Now that's my 2 cents from this, again, very non-scientific experiment. But let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments. If you do decide to go the 1440p route and you're looking for something a little bit more immersive, you've got to check out the super ultra-wide monitor. Enjoy.